Welcome back, guys. This is episode 6 of this show in which we explain and try to debunk UFO clips that you guys sent me over on our Discord, and you can do that too. Join our Discord through the link in the description. The show still doesn't have a name, and I'm desperately hoping to find one that works because UFOs Debunked is just really not a good name. So if you've got any clever puns or names that we could use for this show, then please drop those down in the comment section as well. I would appreciate to hear your thoughts on the clips, on what I'm talking about, and get potential name suggestions for this show. Now, I have 3 clips prepared for you guys today that are quite interesting. Some are harder to debunk than others, and the first clip, we're going to jump right into it, is from my home country. And it's funny because we had a conversation over on our Discord the other day, and someone said, why are there never UFO sightings in Germany? We never get the UFOs into Germany. And it's like, well, here's a clip from Germany. It was recorded over Kassel, over a playground. And I mean, slightly creepy, right? Like the creepy German aliens scoping out those playgrounds. I mean, what the hell is wrong with that? That's barely legal. But we're going to check it out anyway. So here it is. Let's take a look. It is 37 seconds in length. Let's give it a go.
Macht dir Spaß? Ja.
Hey, wie kann man da wieder runter?
Weiß nicht. Was ist denn das? Hä? Was war das?
What was that? So, looks very convincing at first glance, right? You look at this, you're like, yeah, well, you know, I'd buy that for $1. But, I mean, there are a few red flags that I want to point out to you guys. Obviously, I don't know. It might be real. It might be aliens. But first of all, his reaction is delayed, right? When he first sees the craft, he films it for like a second or 2 or 3, and then he's like, was ist denn das? What's that? Right? And also, his surprise is like just badly acted. If you would see that thing in the sky, you'd be like, good Lord, what am I looking at? It would literally blow your mind. But he's like, was isn't this? Almost bored. Check this out and check the delay until he responds to this alleged aircraft.
Was ist denn das?
Almost 4 seconds. What is that? What is that? Okay. So that's the first red flag where I'm like, I'm not really buying it, okay? Second point that stood out to me is that in the beginning of the clip, and there is like a shorter version of this clip floating around on Reddit, for example, where the beginning with the kid on the playground is edited out. But in this version, you can see the kid and you can notice that he pixelated the face of the kid, which makes a lot of sense. I would do the same thing. But you notice that the motion of that pixelation is tracked, auto-tracked to the objects around it, right? So when he moves the camera, notice how the pixelation stays in place, right? It moves. And that tells me that not only has the film been edited, right? This is not like raw footage that he uploaded from his phone or from his camera. This has been edited in some kind of software at some point, whether it was just edited to pixelate the face of the kid or other editing has happened. Hard to say, but it tells me that he knows how to use After Effects or some equivalent software, and he knows how to edit stuff and track objects to other relative objects in a film. So that's not good, okay? And then the third red flag that I noticed is at some point in the beginning of the clip, the tracking seems slightly off. Right? Do you see it right here? Do you see it here? When it's a bit tricky to see if you have an untrained eye for this kind of CGI stuff. But there's a moment where he films slightly to the right and then he films to the left. Notice this pole then going to the right-hand side because he films to the left. And when he moves to the right, it seems like the objects get slightly floaty for a second. It doesn't follow the trajectory that your eye would assume. There it is. There it is. Do you see this? It almost seems to do a little jump in the air, right? It goes up and down, and that is simply because the tracking is just not that perfect and not really so well aligned with the camera movement, because this is tricky stuff to get perfectly right? If you want to have an object perfectly aligned with these objects in the film, it's not a very, very easy thing to achieve to get it really to look perfect. Then also, another red flag is that he doesn't keep this object in the sky in the center of his camera. You can see that in the beginning of it, it's coming from the top left-hand corner, right? That's kind of perfect. It perfectly sits in frame and it's like, oh, okay. But then the problem is the object obviously follows its trajectory and that's not really aligned with his camera movement. So it really gets very, very close to the lower bottom of the screen of his camera. And the reason for that is because most probably he just filmed a piece of blue sky and then tracked the object in later on. And in the beginning, it's perfectly in frame, but then it just follows the line that he designed for it, and then it kind of goes out of frame because obviously he filmed it first and then later tried to match the object into that footage, and by that, you know, he couldn't readjust it and the object kind of awkwardly gets to the bottom of the screen there and it just kind of looks off. And on top of that, like, why did he not shoot a longer video? If you see something like that floating through the sky, I mean, at least move to the left side of this playground. Like, go to that side, see if you can keep it in camera for a few more seconds just to see what's going on. But he's like, oh, what's this? Oh, wow. So I'm not convinced. Too many red flags for me personally. I think it's CGI. However, this clip has also been posted on the Aliens and UFOs subreddit just a few days ago, 2 days ago. And in there, people are speculating that it might be the TR-3B. And I wasn't aware of that. Apparently, the TR-3B is an alleged surveillance plane of the United States Air Force, speculated to have been developed under a black project and tested in Area 51 and all that. It's supposedly a supersonic stealth spy plane with a triangular design, and there's even a little clip that I found where you can see this jet plane landing on an aircraft carrier, and there it is. Oh my god, look at it. It is so top secret that they're actually just showing it to us on an aircraft carrier, on deck. So we can all get a nice close look at it. I'm not gonna lie. This looks like complete garbage. It looks like really, really bad CGI. I don't know if this particular clip is real, but it really doesn't look good to me. Okay, so I doubt that this is the TR-3B. Not to say that his CGI footage is not inspired by the TR-3B. Maybe this German dude did the research and he then decided to design his CGI craft based on who knows? Who knows what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's CGI. But leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you buy it? Do you think it's real? Do you think the red flags I raised are stupid? Curious to hear your thoughts. Next video. So this one is a puzzling one, and I can't really debunk this for sure. But I have a few theories that I want to put forward, and I'm curious again to hear your thoughts on this. Leave your thoughts down in the comments, because it is a little bit of a mysterious one. It's a 26-second long clip. We're going to look at it first and then discuss. Let's take a look.
Dude, have you seen that? Wow, have you seen that? Wow, man. What's that? I have no idea. What? Yeah, we're being attacked. Spotting? Yeah, you have to post this thing. For real. Guys, the Ugandans, man.
So I can't really make out what he's saying there towards the end of the clip. Oh, we get ominous music in the end, as we always get with these clips. But there's a few things I noticed, okay? First and foremost, apparently this has been called the Skeleton Key UFO because it does look a little bit like a key, right? If you look at the shape itself. Also, you can notice that objects are whooshing by, right? So there's a hill, there's a mountain kind of in the beginning, right? Some kind of hill that it flies over in the distance, off in the distance. And you can tell that it's in the distance because whatever the object is, it's darker than the hill. And that means that presumably the hill is further in the distance because like objects that are further in the distance due to the atmosphere just have like a lighter color and have more blue mixed into them. And then there's a bunch of other towers. I don't know what exactly they are. You see them whizzing by, which seems to indicate that this object moves from the left side of the screen to the right? It moves in that trajectory, flying past it. However, that is not necessarily true. Because if you hear the sound, and I'm not going to play it again because it's horrible sound, but you heard it, it sounds like these dudes are driving in a car. You can literally hear the car noises in the background. You can hear the wind in the microphone of the recording. So if they are driving in a car, it is absolutely possible that this object actually is stationary, but they are moving past it, and that gives the illusion, due to the parallax effect, that it is moving. I don't know that. I'm just speculating, reading from the footage, but it might be that this is not actually moving at all. And people in the comments on Reddit are speculating whether it's Anakin's pod racer, right? It might be Anakin's pod racer. It's working! But the other thing I notice looking at this is that the object is mirrored. It seems to have a clear line that goes through the middle and it's mirrored. And if this would be, let's say, some kind of jet plane, it wouldn't be mirrored, right? Because then it would need to fly at a 90-degree angle, facing the camera in a way that the camera looks at it from the top down, if that makes sense. However, there is an object that I found that is pretty close to that. Okay, I wouldn't say it's like 100% debunk and explanation, but I found this Superman RC plane, and there are more examples of this, right? And it obviously, due to the hands and the shape of it, has this shape. So check out this picture here, for example, right? Do you see this shape? The two legs, the two arms spreading out, and now look at this shape again. It's not 100% match, but there was a time where people would be building these. And like I said, there's not just Superman. Like, it was a thing. People were using drones, basically, build this kind of cardboard construction around it, and then fly them around. And you might possibly get the illusion of something like this, looking the way it does here, when actually it is just some kind of cardboard shape built around a drone. And I mean, there are other examples as well. People were building like Millennium Falcons and literally Anakin's pod racer and stuff. So it literally could just be a drone with some structure around it. That is one possible explanation. The other explanation I can think of is that there are these Fata Morganas that you not only get in deserts, you get them in deserts, but you also get them on the sea, okay? And they create this illusion of objects actually floating above sea level, and I'm sure you've seen some of these, and then giving the illusion that the object is actually not attached to the ground, floating above it. Now, this effect is basically an optical illusion, which is a meteorological phenomenon called temperature inversion, which apparently occurs when warm air sits on top of a band of cold air, playing havoc to our visual perception, right? This is an example that occurred on the coast of England, in Cornwall. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And then on top of that, because it is a mirage, you do get mirrored effects in specific circumstances where it looks a little bit like that, where then the objects, I mean, it's not the same object shape that you have here, but you can kind of get the idea it's probably some kind of boat or island or an object that's in the really far distance, so you can't even make out any details of it. It is just like a black or dark blue in shape in this particular case, that you can see in the very distant, and same with this one, right? It's a boat, but it's mirrored, so it gives you this mirrored effect, plus the effect that it sits above sea level. And I think especially looking at an image like that, and then looking at the reference footage again, I'm not saying it's a perfect match, but I think these are two likely explanations that just really are more likely than aliens floating around in Anakin's pod racer. But again, let me know your thoughts. These are my best attempts to explain what we see here. It might be something completely different. Some people were suggesting, you can buy these jellyfish kites, as it might be a kite as well. But I think it raises a lot of red flags and questions that steer us away from it being aliens. Anyway, moving on. The last clip I have for you guys today is my favorite one. Okay, I love this clip. We're going to watch it in its entirety. It's only 13 seconds long. I don't think it comes with sound, but please strap in for this one. It's incredible. It's called Amateur Astronomer Reportedly Captures a Spacecraft Entering the Moon via Crater. Hollow moon, bro. Okay? Hollow moon confirmed. Check it out. Damn, bro. Check it out. And not only is it entering the hollow moon, then the crater, bro, it's closing. Do you see that? Damn. So I love this clip, right? I mean, this is so cool, the idea that we have these giant craters. And like, don't get me wrong, these craters on the moon would be huge. If you can film them like this from Earth, it must be, I don't know, I mean, don't let me lie, but like 50 to 100 kilometers or something in diameter. This is the huge crater, but it opens within a few seconds and then closes again, and this UFO just flies right into it. Perfect. Absolute gold, okay? However, unfortunately, I'm afraid I have to debunk this for you guys, and this is a pretty easy debunk for a few reasons. First of all, I want you to check out the top right-hand corner of this crater. Just look at this spot as I'm playing this clip again. Look at it. Boink, boink, boink. It's bouncing. Do you see that? Boom, boom, boom. I mean, the dude could have at least put some music under it that matches the bounce, but that's not normal. I don't think it's supposed to be that way. Also, please take a close look at the shadow, okay? Just look at the shadow that it has as it floats in. Now, what's going on there in the end? The shadow just disappears. Do you see that? The shadow is not like cutting off as the object goes in and it like with a sharp edge just disappears, matching the object. It just fades out. Do you see that? Let's look at that again. Shadow there, shadow dark. And it just fades out, right? It's not even completely gone. There is still half of the shadow on the crater side, and then it just fades away. So whoever did this, unfortunately, did a terrible job in matching the shadow and to the object. Like, that's a disaster. That really gives it away. I would have hoped that he puts a bit more effort into the shadow, because I love that clip. I think it's really, really cool, but that really destroys it. And then the third point that stood out to me is the atmospheric distortion, because obviously if you're filming from Earth, you have to film through the Earth's atmosphere, so you get like the distortion of the atmosphere, which he's nicely trying to emulate here, right? Like everything kind of ripples, but atmospheric distortions don't ripple at a constant rhythmic pace, which we can clearly see here. It is much more irregular if you look at other examples of this, and that tells me that most probably what we see here is him using what you call a noise map in a 3D software, whether it's Blender or 3D Max or Cinema 4D or whatever. You have these noise maps that are built in, and they ripple. You use them for water, for example, right? And they ripple at a very constant rhythmic pace. And I think that's what we see here. So he screwed up the shadow, he screwed up the noise map, and he kind of screwed a lot of things up. But the basic idea is great. Like, I love the idea of this huge crater opening up, like some kind of hatch, and then this giant UFO just flying into it. I love it. So I think this one is an easy debunk. I'm sorry to disappoint you guys, it's not real, but that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown of those 3 clips. Again, if you have other clips you want me to look at that are on par with these incredible pieces of footage, then send them to me over on our Discord. The link's in the description. I'm hanging out there. It's of course free to join. You can discuss UFOs amongst many other things. I would love to hear from you over there. Share your thoughts in the comments, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and I see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. I'm out. Bye.